Good afternoon, and it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to our 2015 Mountain East Conference Football Media Day, as today marks the beginning of Year 3 of the MEC.
Next up, the proud program at Fairmont State. A year ago, 3-7, and also 3-7 in the Mountain East Conference. And the Falcons will welcome back a very dynamic duo this year in quarterback Cooper Hibbs and all Mountain East Conference wide receiver Fabian Guerra. A year ago, Hibbs was injured quite a bit, only played in 6 games, but in 4 of those games threw for over 300 yards. And Guerra caught 63 passes a season ago, so certainly one of the great tandems to watch out for this year in the MEC. Also, the Falcons returned their top tackler from a season ago in Marcus Porter and an outstanding defensive back in Jacob Jean Charles. And it's time to welcome to the podium the head coach of the Falcons, Jason Woodman.
Thank you, Mark. Looking at our outlook this year, obviously 2015 schedule for us is going to be a challenge. I think that the conference from top to bottom is probably as competitive as it's ever been. We are having 5 Thursday night games, which we think is going to be a big plus for us. Getting more attendance at our games and should create a little bit of excitement. So we're looking forward to those. I think that as Year 3 rolls around for us, I think our staff is fairly confident in the progress we've made. If you look back from 2 years ago when we walked in and where we're at today, we're making progress. We're heading the right way. And with the conference being at the level it's at, sometimes it takes time. I'm probably the most impatient person when it comes to that, but our staff and our players have worked really hard, and we're confident in where we're at. We do return Fabian Guerra and our leading tackler Marcus Porter from last year. Both of them are all-conference selections, and Jacob Jean Charles, who's an all-conference player 2 years ago, comes back as well. We're still young overall. We only have 10 seniors we're expecting to report to camp. So, again, we are still in the rebuilding stages, but that's part of our job as coaches. We got our real second recruiting class. We had time to actually go through the entire recruiting process this past off season. So now it's our job to develop our guys, and that's going to be up to us. And then, like I said, we're looking forward to doing that. We do return Cooper Hibbs, who started every game that he's been on the campus. He was injured halfway through the season. I thought that it really hurt us down the stretch, but we're looking forward for him to get back on the field and to start producing again. Offensively, we lost 4 starting linemen. So that was a big key in the offseason, finding guys to come in and can play right away. And that's going to be a challenge for us, and obviously staying healthy, unlike we did last year. Defensively, last year we played a lot of young guys. There were times where we were playing 8 and 9 true freshmen, and it showed. We're looking forward to getting those guys back, and hopefully they've learned from what they went through, and we're trying to continue to develop them also. And we have an entire new defensive staff on that side of the ball too that I'm very happy with, and the progress we made through the spring has been very good. So right now, guys, we're just looking to get kicked off tomorrow, or Saturday, I'm sorry, and see if we can get everybody in town. Once that happens, our sights will be set on September 3rd against West Virginia State at home. Coach Anderson does a great job in the off-season. The last 2 years he's been there. They've been very well prepared and have played really good the first game of the year, so we're expecting a challenge. But overall, we're excited.
And the quarterback and the wide receiver, but a lot of these games are won and lost on defense. What are you guys bringing from that side of the ball to try and help you guys get some victories?
We're bringing a lot of speed, a lot of size, and stuff like that. And we're bringing more guys that's game ready on defense to help us out.
How does playing against a wideout like Fabian help you get better?
Well, he gives me, Fabian, he plays in the slot, and so he gives us a lot of different aspects where we get from different teams and stuff like that. And he plays hard. I give him that. He plays hard, and he shows us that when you play hard, he can show it really affect us, and it shows different holes in our defense where we have to fix, and that's where we get better because he makes us better because he shows us the different holes in our defense when we fix and stuff like that.
When you look back at last season, what are some things where it's obvious to you as a unit and as a team that you guys know that you can improve upon to maybe get a little bit better and add a couple more wins this year?
Yeah, well, we had a lot of young guys, and most of them was not mentally focused, and I feel like this year during spring that our guys were more focused on playing football, and that will help us out a lot.
Jacob, for you guys, leading tackler coming back is Marcus Porter. I mean, he was a freshman last year. How important is it to have that guy for another couple of years for this program?
That is really important for us because he brings a lot to the table, and he's hungry every play. And I tell him, man, we speak a lot, and I tell him that, we got to bring it every day. So it's really important to have him back.
Sure. As far as the secondary goes, I mean, you got you on one side, Calvin Kaline up on the other side. You got a couple of good young safeties. What are you guys looking to do this year as far as the secondary unit?
Play fast, play every play like it's our last play, So, I mean, we could bring more lot to the table as far as tackling better and stuff like that. We just want to play one play at a time and play as our last play, every play.
Sure. With a new defensive coordinator in place, what have you seen from Coach Christoph so far in the offseason as far as trying to get mentally prepared?
He brings a lot to the table. He's a great, amazing coach. He's young, and that's what we need. And he make us play real. It's like he make us play real vicious on defense, and that actually get the offense prepared for anything and everybody.
Thank you.
So I feel like I got to be more of a vocal leader. I don't talk that much. I don't really show my play on the field, but I feel like I start talking and be more of a vocal leader. And I think the younger players depend that on me. So
tell me a little bit about your relationship with Cooper Hibbs and how difficult it was to have him in and out of the lineup last year.
Our relationship, like we work out together, we run routes every day together. Our bond is strong. We watch film together. We hang out together. We do a lot of stuff together. But yeah, having him out last year was sad. But the next guy has to step up. But I'm glad to have him back.
You have a different perspective of the defense, especially during spring ball when you get to see those guys every day. How did they maybe grow and improve during that time?
They're getting physical now. They're playing like a unit. We have a lot of leaders now with Jacob and Marcus being a starter as a freshman. You could tell they improved from fall a lot.
Fabian, you said you wanted to make a name for yourself. When you leave Fairmont State, what is that name going to be? You think what kind of legacy do you want to leave as far as what you leave behind you?
That Fabian was a leader. He led the team. He didn't hurt the team. He broke most of the records. He to help the team win playoffs games.
Sure. With Cooper coming back, I mean, trying to ease back into everything, how confident do you think he is knowing that he comes back and he has you there to help him go through everything?
Well, 2 years under his belt, it's going to help him a lot, and our connection is better than ever, so I think it's going to help him a lot.
Sure. You guys also have a couple other young wide receivers there trying to put their feet into the water, I guess, there. Talk about the receiving unit and what they can do as far as this season goes.
I think they're young, but they know how to play the game. They're smart. They're football smart, so I think they'll pick up our offense fast and be a key part in this offense. Young as a freshman.
Sure. New offensive coordinator this year, Coach Horrocks. I mean, obviously he's worked with you guys as wide receivers, but what does he bring to the table as far as getting you guys into motion and setting things forward?
He's a really good coach. He does a lot of one-on-ones with us, like go over film and like fix our mistakes, and he's a good coach. And yeah, I think I'm gonna like him as an offensive coordinator.
Good. Great. All right, Coach, tell me a little bit about you guys' outlook for this year and maybe some things that you look to improve upon, as you slowly try to build a program.
Well, we obviously have to improve defensively. We played a lot of young guys last year, and I thought that it showed at times, and we've done a good job this offseason with developing them and just kind of get back to the basics and making sure that we're doing what we have to do on and off the field with them, and that includes the weight room, classroom, everything. So that was one of our big goals, and one of the directions that we think we're going well in. So that should be a challenge, and then obviously getting your starting quarterback out or back after a 4-game absence is going to be big for us as well.
When you look at Fairmont State, obviously that's the headline, your quarterback wide receiver combination. How do you try and build around that as an entire offense and then also as an entire unit team?
Well, I think that I think you have to be able to run the ball effectively in order to let those two kind of work, and we struggle with that at times. And I think overall as a team that was a problem. When we were forced to throw the ball a lot, we struggled, and that's something that we know offensively we got to get better at. Of course, the other side of it, we lost 4 starters, so we've got to find 4 guys to come in and play right away and continue to get better there. But I think that one of the things that Fabian does well is that his work ethic is so good. He's always doing what he can to improve himself. So we're hoping that as a team, as we mature, they mature with him, and kind of we hope that it spreads a little bit. So they're important for us offensively, but they're also important as a team because we're trying to get the same attitude and mindset.
What kind of identity are you looking for from the defensive side of the ball when somebody plays Fairmont? What do you want to have them walk away and say?
Well, I think overall you always want your defense to be physical. I think that you want them to play hard, play to the whistle. When you walk on the field, you want the other team to say, man, they give everything they have, and that's offensively and defensively. But physicality is obviously the key to defense. We need to focus on getting back to the basics. We need to focus on playing a sound scheme and taking care of your responsibility, play after play, and just doing the best you can to play.
Fairmont State, several Thursday night games. How excited are you to turn on the lights and roll up the ball and play on Thursday night? It should
be a good atmosphere. I know our community's excited about it. I know our city is going to be behind us, and I think it's a good atmosphere for our players. Typically your college days or your college games are Saturday morning, so it's a little change of pace, and anytime you get people in the stands, it's a better environment. So I think it should be fun. We'll be excited for it, and looking forward to it.
Coach, last year at this time, your big thing was competition. I mean, you had so many young freshmen coming in, you just wanted to see how they competed. A year later, I mean, how did you see those competitions grow from preseason last year to the end of the season?
I think that it's something that you're always going to continue to preach day in, day out, because it's good programs and successful programs have that. I don't know we're necessarily at the level we expect to be or want to be, but I think that as we are there and the longer we're in the program, that's going to continue to get better. Through the season, sometimes you kind of get away from it because you're worried about preparing for the next opponent and what they do and injuries, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that plays into it. But overall, as a program, I saw us compete in the off season. I've seen us compete all summer, so we're hoping that it keeps going, and we're going to keep pushing it through the fall. But early in camp, we expect to see a lot of it, and then once the season starts, a lot of your competitiveness comes on Saturdays. So you're more prepping and preparing, and then Saturdays when you really compete. But you got to do it in the winter, you got to do it in the spring, you got to do it in the summer in order to do it in the fall.
Sure. A lot of your guys have talked about personal accolades, but also team accolades as far as setting goals for yourself, setting goals for the team as a whole. What do you guys have as far as goals are this season? I mean, obviously, besides
our goals since we've been here have been to get better every day, worry about ourselves, do things right. My goal is still to get my team to understand what it means to be accountable, what it takes to be a champion. Not necessarily what they say it is, but what they do means more, and that's a battle. I think our coaching staff that we have in place now understands that. I feel like that it's something that's going to be supported throughout, and I feel fairly confident that that's going to happen. But that's our goal. Still get better every day. Hold yourself to the highest standard you can, and then try to figure out what it means to be able to accomplish that.